respected Martyr Colonel Emin Rai sacrificed his life for the country. So while saluting him there on that path, what feelings were there in your heart and what were you feeling?
It was dreadful, Lavanya. To me, someone just told me कि यार तुम्हारे पापा नहीं हैं, and I was कि यार मेरे को इतना भरोसा था ना अपने पापा पे कि नहीं यार, he must not be the one.
Welcome to the very first episode of Sparsh, Stories of the Brave. Today we have our guest speaker Alka Rai. Alka is a student at LSR and an NCC cadet. We are here to have some of the insightful experiences as well as candid conversation with Alka Rai about her life and as well as the daughter of Martyr Colonel Emin Rai, 29 Gorkha Rifles. So Alka, what was your experience while growing up in an army life? How did you feel growing up in this army environment which was filled with opportunities and challenges?
So first thing, as an army brat, which I was taught was there are no challenges but opportunities. And yes, we've had our share of difficulties. It was not more for me but more for my parents, you know. My mother especially, being an army wife is as equal to being an army officer. She had to shift houses like, I don't know, there are hundreds of houses we've shifted, and to pack everything again, move to, you know, that emotion you hold to a particular house and then leave that house and then again start a new life. That was a bit difficult. And you know, every time you don't get cities like Delhi, Mumbai, you don't get, you know, these sort of cities. You do get cities like Jammu. You get places like places like villages in Odisha, all these things where resources are not that available, or I'd say that resources weren't available only.
Of course, you get this chance to delve into some very remote areas of the states and the countries you've never seen or you've never explored. So, how many countries or how many states would you share?
I am not able to recall properly. I mean, I'm not able to count, but I'll say one of my favorites. So Wellington, it's near Ooty. That was our favorite place. It had hills, it had mountains, it had greenery, and I've had my time of my life over there. You know, my father, he was doing staff college. It's one of the courses that the officers have to do in order to get promoted to a particular rank. So my father was doing his studies, and I had seen my parents really cooperating, you know, because every time I see my dad was at the field work, it's either J&K or Myanmar, wherever he's posted, and my mom is back at home handling us and the emotions and, you know, the dwell of traumas she has to go through.
Exactly.
But the way I saw my parents cooperating, my dad had to study so hard. The course is very difficult, you know, even to crack that exam is a bit difficult. So I remember my dad asking my mom, he said कि यार एक बार इसमें साथ दे दे, इसके बाद तो फिर I promise. And my mom, the way she handled, I'd seen her giving my dad green tea, my father studying, and my mom, you know, again my dad was there, but still a wife has to handle her kids all alone because the officer has to study, manage his work, which is so intense because you have a national responsibility under you. So that was one thing I saw, and I just reminded my soul that this is a kind of life I want to aim for, or a life partner I would say I would aim for. The way they cooperated, they worked as a team, and therefore my father, he became colonel at such a young age. And my mother, she always says कि यार तुम्हारे पापा से better तो कोई मिल ही नहीं सकता था. मैं कहा made for each other.
Exactly. So you mentioned in your conversation that your father was studying while he was into army and he had interest in army. So what was that one thing in him, like what did he aim for in his life? Did he already have this dream of becoming an army officer, or did his father instill this dream into him?
See, I'll tell you, you know, it's always your circumstance and your environment which ultimately lead you to your thoughts and your dreams. That my father was born and brought up in Kalimpong, and my grandfather, he was the principal of a school and an NCC teacher. Okay. So when he was a kid, he used to wear my grandfather's NCC uniform, and he said that मैं भी एक दिन ऐसे ही बनूंगा officer. And that one sentence he told to his mind, and till the last breath of his life, he followed it so religiously and completely that even till his death, people remember him as one of the greatest soldiers of this country.
There's no doubt about it. Exactly, there's no doubt about it. So, as a student, what challenges did you face while changing your school, while changing your friends, moving from one place to another?
Oh, it was exciting. And since kid, I was a very happening girl. I used to do something, I used to just keep doing something, and I was a very bubbly person also. So to me, it was not very challenging, to make friends. And also, my father, whenever I used to feel sad or low, or even my mother, I said कि यार पापा झगड़ा हो गया, इससे झगड़ा हो गया, तो झगड़ा क्या होता है? झगड़ा क्या होता है? जाओ sort करो जाके. There was nothing like adjusting. There's always like, this is life, this is how it is supposed to be. And at times when I used to feel कि my next posting is coming, I have to leave my friends, I have to, obviously become emotionally attached. And that's where army taught me one of the most important principles of life, that nothing is permanent. That's where I learned that even human life is so temporary that emotions का तो क्या ही करोगे जब जिंदगी इतनी temporary है तो.
I agree with you totally on
So
this.
there is nothing wrong or right, in leaving someone or staying with someone. It's just that it's so temporary. Things are so temporary that ultimately you have to move on from certain things.
So, what do you think? Like, you have inherited some of your, some of key habits of your father in you, and you see your siblings also rising into that one ideal person which your father always dreamt of. So, what are the habits that you might have inherited in yourself?
Honestly, Lavanya, I'm not even 5% of what my father was, and I'm genuinely saying I'm not even that 5%. And I really want to. If I even become 5% of his personality, I can say right here, right now, that I can genuinely make this world a better place.
I agree with
And the few habits, obviously, I just mentioned that I'm a very bubbly person. I can gel with a lot of people and make them laugh. That's what I've inherited from him. He was so lively and he was so full of life. I never saw my father very sad. People talk about work-life balance today. I learned that particular way of life way before, people now how they talk about that. नहीं ऐसे हमें अपने emotional mental well-being को शांत रखना चाहिए to balance things. My dad taught me to prioritize things. That's the simplest solution you can ever get through.
Right. And what are your thoughts about your siblings? Are they growing the way your father?
Oh, absolutely. My sister, she is exact replica of my father. Multi-talented. Okay. She plays basketball. She has got his height. She's got his dimples. And the way she's... My father, he was... I don't know how to put this in words, but he was, how you say, mufat. Yeah. So he used to never keep anything in his heart. He was, jo hai man mein wo muh pe. So that's how my sister is. One day my sister and my mother, they were having a good fight, and there's this ceremony in army. Once you get commission, you get pipping. You get stars over here. Okay. So my sister is like, "Aap mere pipping pe mat aana, please." and we all laughed. And my mom, she's like, "Haan, theek hai, koi baat nahi aayega." So that's how. And my brother, so my father also believed in a lot of religious things. He said you should always have faith. Two reasons why he told me, because one, it makes you a very disciplined person. So when you do puja, there's a particular time you get up, and because of that you have other habits. So if you have puja at 9 o'clock, so you will get up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock to have your breakfast, have a bath, have everything on time. So he said a particular habit will make you into a very disciplined person, and that habit will only develop when you have faith. So faith and discipline will ultimately, this will come into you because of religion things,
yes,
or whatever,
I
religious
agree with you,
belief.
because there's a certain sense of discipline that is required in every human being to follow a path which is more peaceful.
Right.
Right. So, are there any stories that your father shared during his school days or army days when he was getting his training and everything?
No, I was way too young, I was a kid to even understand what he was going through, and as an officer. And let me tell you, he was not a very chill father though. He was one strict person I knew in my life. I was so scared of him when I was young, because But yeah, I just remember, if anything I can learn from my father is being simple. That simplicity made him different, extraordinary from everyone. And you know that one instance, he didn't tell me, one of his classmates told me. He said that यार राय को कोई भी काम दे दे, कोई भी काम दे दो उसको मना ही नहीं करेगा, हंसते हंसते ले लेगा. So there was this one thing in one of his drill practices in his training days, they had to carry weight and climb up. And there were teams. So there's Alpha, Beta, Charlie, all these teams were there. So my dad had, like, he said कि यार राय को जीतने का बड़ा शौक था, वो हार ले ही नहीं सकता था. So a few men in his team weren't able to, you know, drag with the or run with the weight. So my dad took weight of at least 3 men. That is around 100 plus kgs he had on his shoulders, and he told them कि तुम लोग भागो. And his team came first. That's what the coachman told me, and I was shocked there. I was like, how come a person, he's so much into his teamness, so much into his unity, and yet so simple. I had never seen my father boasting about anything. You know, my mother told me कि एक बार हम सब गांव में बैठे हुए थे, कोई आया, and they were newly married, and कोई आया and बोला कि आप क्या करते हैं? बोलता फौजी हूँ. And the guy went, and my mom went to my grandfather. Grandfather was like कि इन्होंने बोला फौजी हैं. My grandfather said कि मेरे बच्चे यही हैं, वो करेंगे इतना, बताएंगे इतना.
Exactly, absolutely. Our parents teach us every sort of habit that we are today. Like, we are because of them. So there need not be any moment where we are not thankful for all the sacrifices that they have made.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I agree with you, because talking about army life as an army child, we have a certain sense of pride in ourselves, but that's hidden in our souls. Like,
Yeah,
your grace that you have on your face, I can say that you're an army brat.
Thank
I'm
you
not
so
spoiled
much.
though.
Thank you so much.
What do you think, or what sadness and despair did like entered your life after respected Martyr Colonel M. Rai sacrificed his life for the country? So while saluting him there on that path, what feelings were there in your heart, and what were you feeling?
It was dreadful, Lavanya. To me, someone just told me कि यार तुम्हारे पापा नहीं हैं. And I was कि यार मेरे को इतना भरोसा था ना अपने पापा पे कि नहीं यार, he must not be the one, because he became colonel at such a young age. He under his command no guy was even harmed. So how can my father be harmed? Yaar, not possible. Until I saw him. There were bullets in his head. There was bandage over his face. I was like, yaar, I questioned myself, why me, how me, and how come my father had to, you know, leave like this. And you know, there was this one thing, my dad never made promises to me, you know, कि मैं हमेशा रहूँगा या हमेशा. There's nothing like that. And you know, that day I understood why he didn't make any promise to me. And when I saw him, I was blank. I was like, what next? What am I even supposed to? Not even. And I had a family in front of me. My mother was howling, crying. She was not able to stand. She was fainting while she was sitting only. My sister was not speaking. My brother was into silence. He was told to do the rituals which a son has to do. And I was standing over there as if, you know, as if he knew that this was going to happen, but he never let the fear came into us, and now suddenly something has happened like this to us. We were all blank. We were all not able to walk. But and that salute, no one told me to do that salute. No one told me to.
Of course, that was not scripted.
That was not scripted. But I remember my father saying this war cry. So in unit where you mentioned, he was from the 29 Gorkha Rifles. And in every party, any party, it has to end with this war cry. Like, the officers go crazy when this war cry used to come. And I said, I'm not going to bid my father like this. He was not like any other father, any other person. He deserves a salute from his family. And I did it, I said it. I was obviously broken into tears. And I had complaints from my father. That time I was so angry. I had complaints like, why you had to go, why you had to lead from front, why you didn't think of us to, you think of mother, Ritsa, anyone, yeah. Why did you go over there? And I had put this question to my mother also. So my mother said there are only few Alka who get this kind of death. And learn this from your father, that when you do your duty well, then you live life in a very respectful manner, and even when you die, people are there to remember you. Because of his duty, because of his work, he's remembered today. And that's where it got into my soul. जहन में बैठ गया कि मरना है तो ऐसे मरना है, वरना तो मरना ही नहीं है, ऐसे मरना है, हाँ तिरंगे में लिपट के आना है, anything for the country.
So what kind of a legacy did your father leave on you four people?
He was in himself a legacy. I am, पता नहीं क्या कर्म रहे होंगे मेरे कि मैं उनकी बेटी बनी. I was so lucky to be born in a household, in a family where there are only officers around me. Even his eldest brother, he's in the army. My younger Tauji, my dad was the youngest. So the eldest brother is in the army. Then the middle one, he's in the CRPF, and my dad himself is in the army. So I felt so lucky to be surrounded by people who had just one thing, and that's a giving nature. When you're in the army, when you're in the CRPF, you just have giving nature to your nation. You don't think कि मेरी family क्या, ये क्या, फलाना. There's just one patriotism that is within you, that's in the blood. And that's what I had learned. And when people do ask me that, now when they ask me that Papa के बिना कैसे manage करते हो, I said कि ये तो है ही नहीं. A father can never leave her daughter.
Exactly.
And I so believe in it. I find myself very lucky because मुझे ऊपर भी कोई देखने वाला है और नीचे भी कोई देखने वाला है. तो मेरे parents तो दोनों जगह हैं. दोनों जगह हैं.
So, is your mother able to come out of that trauma? Was she able to fight with it, with the thought of not seeing her husband daily anymore?
Yeah, it was very tough for her. They had been married for 14 years, and I had seen my parents working hard day and night. And honestly, I learned the meaning of love from them. The way my mother cooperated with my father, the way my father cooperated with her. My mom, she tells me the story that when I was married for the first time when I came in the unit, she was a civil person's daughter. She said, I had no idea how army works and how, the ladies are supposed to be. And I asked your father that, what am I supposed to do? So Papa ne bola, jaisi ho, waisi raho. And my mom said, उस दिन मेरे को समझ आ गया, मैंने correct decision बनाया. Correct एकदम, yeah, she like correct इंसान से शादी करी. And she said that even today, I asked her, because it's very difficult to raise 3 children all alone. I asked her that, do you want to consider getting married again or something like that? She said, तुम्हारे पापा से better कोई मिला के दिखा दो मुझे. And yeah, that was it. It was difficult for her. She did speak to us for 3 months. We didn't. She was numb. She was obviously. But the way she came out from that darkness, the way she held on to herself, collected her. She said that, I've mentioned this before and I'm still proud of what she said to me, was that I'm the mother of you, and your father is within you guys, so I cannot leave him like that. I want to see him a part of Colonel M.N. Rai being successful once again. So that was one, I said if a person has spent 14 years together, those 2 soulmates have been separated so many times by circumstances and for the nation, if she can do it, then we must do it. We must.
I agree with you, Alka, because if you have this ability, or rather this, what should I say, the sense of being, attached to your country, when you can harmonize with your country with this much of courage and valor, that's that's for me is Martyr Colonel M.N. Rai. He defines it so perfectly. He defines it so nicely. Like in his absence, also, I feel that he is still around us.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
He's an inspiration, of
He's
course.
an
He's an inspiration for many of us. So, talking about your future, what are your aspirations for your future? Like, what do you see? How do you see yourself 10 years down the line?
I'd like to again work for my nation, and this has come from nowhere but from my father, and I'm very proud to say that. And I want to be an army officer, and if nothing, I just want to do a tad bit for this nation, you know, because I'll tell you, Lavanya, when no one was there for us, when in our hard times, it was the blessings of that nation, of this nation. There were people who were sending us flowers, who were sending us blessings to my family, to my mother, to, you know, be well. And that's where I learned कि अगर कुछ करो अपने देश के लिए तो देश अकेले नहीं छोड़ता, तो मैं सब साथ में कभी नहीं छोड़ता. And especially the Indian Army, they were there for us when hope had lost us. We had lost hope, sorry, and we had no chance. We had almost given up. All four of us had almost given up to, you know, because we didn't have the answer to what next. And that's where Indian Army came to our picture, and they said, we are there. So that we are the next step. You don't have to worry about the next. And till today, from that day, the day my father got commissioned, till today, the Indian Army is with us. Today, you know, I just have to contact the nearest cantonment and I'm at home. That's all I have to do. I just have to get a number of the nearest person, whoever is handling the cantonment, and I'm at home. So that's what
pillar of strength with you and with your family. This is the greatest strength and support that I can say.
Oh yeah, they're family. Not even support, they're family.
वो कहते हैं ना कि मिट्टी से जुड़े रहो तो ठीक रहते हो.
हाँ.
जिस दिन हवा में उड़ने लगो तो बस दुनिया खत्म. So, do you have any particular post which you are aiming for in the army?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I want to get one of the best posts, and I do want to get at the rank of colonel and beyond. But let's see what happens. I'm working.
Did your father also has this dream of seeing you in this army uniform?
Oh, he said whatever you want to become.
Okay.
मेरे पापा ने बोला था कि चीटिंग के अलावा लाइफ में सब करना, मतलब not that, I mean obviously कुछ सब नहीं, but obviously he said कि कभी भी झूठ, चीटिंग, गद्दारी, ये तीन चीज़ कभी मत करना, क्योंकि ये तीन चीज़ अल्टीमेटली रिग्रेट लाएगा. अभी नहीं लाएगा तो कभी ना कभी लाएगा. And his learnings are with me, and there was another thing he taught me कि गलतियाँ एक्सेप्ट करना और गलतियों से सीखना, ये दो चीज़ें अगर हैं तुम में तो तुम्हें लाइफ में कभी कोई दिक्कत आ ही नहीं सकती, बिकॉज यू ऑलवेज कीप लर्निंग फ्रॉम लाइफ, यू नो, anything happens, any bad, good, anything which happens, just keep learning. There's nothing कि अब ये हो गया तो सब खत्म हो गया. And that's what happened with me, you know, when I lost my father. I told this to myself कि अब तो सब खत्म हो गया. And that's where I remember he said कि कभी भी कुछ खत्म नहीं होएगा, हमेशा सीखते रहना. So yeah, I think
when God closes one door,
he opens the other.
So apart from this, what are your hobbies and interests that you like to spend time in, other than NCC and everything?
Academics is I like to never spend time on that. Sorry.
Same here.
But I love poetry. I do write poetry, and I've performed certain stand-ups also.
Oh, great!
Yeah, so that I'm into these things, and most importantly, I love to spend with time with my mother. She is an absolute human being. इनके साथ आप ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि आप इनके साथ बैठो और आपको लगे आपका टाइम वेस्ट हो गया है. मुझे कभी ऐसा लगा ही नहीं. And she's a lovely person. I love spending time with my family, and yeah, I think that's it. Poetry, family, and some of me time. Yeah, listening to music.
So you don't like acting or dancing or that stuff?
No, I mean I cannot perform it every day, but I do like these things.
Okay.
So yeah, I was into acting since class 9th grade. I used to perform theatres, and I was in a boarding school before this. So yeah, I like anything which requires speaking skills.
Okay, so you are a full-to speaker.
Yeah,
right?
good. Yeah, orator.
Good speaker, good orator. So do you have any poetry like that? Would you like?
I don't remember. It's in my phone. So if you guys allow me, I'll read it from here.
Yeah, sure. Have it.
I wrote this on me joining the Indian Army. So I wrote, I have longed to be an officer, wearing those olive greens on my chest. Each day a sacrifice is what a life I'm ready for. My black shoes, my 2 stars is what a life, if less ordinary, I want. No day and no night, just a life of gunshots and bullets. That's what my heartbeat is ready for. I'm ready for the victory and I'm ready for the loss. I'm ready for my life to be taken till I'm alive and from there on. Because you've never lived until you've almost died, and for those who choose to fight, life has a special flavor. The protected will never know. As for a soldier, luck is merely another word for skill. I can bow down to the skies and live in the air, my blood shed for those glorious days where my death is celebrated as martyrdom, wearing the tricolour as my dress. For you know my Josh is for my country, but more for my men, my brothers, who are wrapped in tirangas and packed in coffins. But trust me, I'm a soldier who fights where I am told and win where I fight. I dare to kill my own fears of my men crying. That's what the game of truth and dare I had played all my life. So I stand here as a Fauji, to respect a Fauji. I stand here as Indian Army. क्योंकि एक फौजी के रुतबे से बड़ा और कोई रुतबा नहीं होता और अपने देश से बड़ा और कोई धर्म नहीं होता. Few lines from certain quotes I've taken from the Indian Army.
That's commendable. I don't even have words, and the listeners who would be listening right now, their hearts would be filled with this utmost sense of respect and sincerity, as well as courage. That a daughter, being an army daughter, is not an easy job. So, are there any myths that you would like to break, or you would like to break that bubble of people have these myths in their mind, they have these thoughts in their mind that आर्मी बच्चा कभी फ्रेंड्स नहीं बना सकता, उसके परमानेंट फ्रेंड्स नहीं बन सकते, उसके पास कोई रेडी टू कोई उसके पास आने के लिए कोई होता नहीं है अगर उसको जब उसकी ज़रूरत चाहिए हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू हैव मूव्ड इनटू दिस न्यू स्टेट and you don't have your family members near you, you don't have any relatives near you. So उस situation में उन चीज़ों को सोच के people, especially army brats, children and students, they always feel this deprived, they have this deprived feeling कि हम लोग civilian वाली life नहीं जी सकते. So do you think there's a major difference in a civilian life and an army student life?
See, there's nothing like major difference. You know, since I have not lived a civilian life, so I don't know what your challenges are. And similarly, you don't know what my challenges are. So there's a difference of circumstance. There's nothing like कि आप में और मेरे में कोई difference है. हम दोनों same school में जाते थे, you know.
Right.
We used to study from the same teacher, from the same surrounding we had. And the myths that army children don't have permanent friends, or they cannot, have anything sort of permanent emotions in their life or something like that. See, that is very subjective, but what I believe is we understand value of people more intensely because we see our fathers going, we see our friends leaving from postings to postings, we see our mother going to duties in the armed forces, the medical portion of the armed forces. We have seen our mothers working, doing night duties, handling patients. So we understand the value of someone being there with us in a very intense form as comparatively. But again, it's very subjective,
Yeah.
I don't know what people have gone through in their life, so I cannot say that I understand better and you don't understand. Everyone has their own challenges in life, and again, I would like to say, put it in a more acute form, how my father said that being down to earth, being the simplest person can help you anywhere. And life, again I said life is very temporary, so I'd say don't get attached to it. I'm not attached, but just be ready that things are temporary. कुछ भी हो सकता है लाइफ में. सबसे अच्छा मोमेंट होने के लिए भी 5 मिनट चाहिए और सबसे गंदा मोमेंट के लिए सिर्फ 5 मिनट चाहिए आपको. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. बी प्रिपेयर्ड, बी कि हाँ ठीक है ये है, तो be neutral to everything. Don't be very happy, don't be very sad. This is what I've learned after my father. This is what I've learned. कि कोई भी चीज़ से बहुत खुश भी नहीं होना, बहुत दुखी भी नहीं होना है. जैसा है कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है.
So, Alka, did you face, have you had this share of experience of feeling lonely in your life, or being, एक टाइम आता है लाइफ में when you are so into that shell of life that where you can you don't have this option of going and exploring people outside or making friends. So did you have that time with your father as well as without him when you felt low, alone and you felt aloof in your life?
Actually, when I had my father, I was unaware of challenges in my life, honestly, because it was very easy for me, you know.
Parents make life easy.
Very easy. I was मुझे कुछ नहीं करना था, स्कूल जाना था, होमवर्क करना था, वापस आना, सो जाना था. That was all about it. But yes, of course, when he left me, I was alone because my mother was not speaking. I don't know what I had to speak to my siblings. That time, I learned that any problem requires the first step is accepting things. So once the accepting part is done, half the battle is won. So that alone time was necessary for me to understand me and for my growth personally, that how I have to deal when people will leave in my life, because this thing will not happen to me. This is not the first and the last time a thing is happening to me, someone leaving me permanently. I know I have a mother, she'll grow old, she'll have things to look after, she'll have problems. Ultimately, even I have to live a life without her. So this full credit goes to my mother. I was just sitting and वो ऐसे ही पूछ रही, कल को मैं नहीं रहूँगी तो क्या करोगी? Random questions she asked कि ये नहीं है तो क्या करोगी फिर? तुम्हें पता है बैंक अकाउंट कहाँ है, तुम्हें पता है ये सब कहाँ है, how will you handle? So ये मेरे दिमाग में मतलब बैठ गया दिमाग में कि आई एम श्योर उन्होंने कुछ देखा है अपनी लाइफ में, तभी वो मुझे इन सब चीज़ों के लिए रेडी कर रही हैं. एंड वो बोलती भी हैं कि मुझे तो कुछ पता ही नहीं था, आई वॉज डिपेंडेंट ऑन योर फादर. So I don't want my kids to suffer the same problems which I had to suffer, I had to go through. So that alone time was important for acceptance. And obviously by nature I'm a very bubbly person, as I mentioned before. So मैं बात तो कर लेती थी लोगों से कि हाँ मुझे ये दिक्कत है. हाँ, but I was not able to open up my inner thoughts or my inner feelings. I had a lot of conflicts in my mind that why this, why not, why me, why my family, or why he had to go there. So ये जब आप अकेले अपने आप बैठ के सोचते हो तो बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन के आंसर्स आपको खुद ही मिल जाते हैं जब आप बैठ के सोचते हो.
Like there is a need of a therapist, or it's enough if you write all these emotions in a diary also? So do you feel that you need a mental support during that time, or just a diary and a pen would be enough for you?
See, Lavanya, everyone has their own way. किसी को डायरी में लिखना उतना अच्छा नहीं लगता, किसी को लगता है यार कोई बात करने वाला मिल जाए, किसी को लगता है मुझे उतना बात नहीं करना, मैं खुद से बात करूँगा तो मुझे समझ आ जाएगा. Because everyone has their own problems, their own set of challenges. Everyone will have different solutions also, So, but अगर मैं आपसे बात करूँगी, आप मुझे बताओगे कि ये सोल्यूशन है, आपको ऐसे नहीं करना है, ऐसे नहीं फील करना है. Everything just comes down to one thing कि एक बार प्रॉब्लम एक्सेप्ट हो जाएगी तो कोई भी सोल्यूशन, मैं आपसे बात करूँ, मैं अपनी डायरी में लिखूँ, मैं एक थेरेपिस्ट के पास जाऊँ, एक बार जब मैंने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया ना कि दिक्कत है, तो फिर कोई भी सोल्यूशन पे काम करना ईजी हो जाता है. लेकिन वो एक्सेप्टेंस जब तक नहीं आती ना, वो फिर बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. बिकॉज आई हैव नॉट एक्सेप्टेड माई प्रॉब्लम, आई हैव नॉट एक्सेप्टेड माई सिचुएशन. तो जब तक मैं खुद ही नहीं एक्सेप्ट करी, कोई दूसरा तीसरा मेरी क्या ही हेल्प कर सकता है. तो इवन व्हेन यू गो टू, एंड I'd recommend everyone, if you're dealing with something, please go to a therapist. I'm myself doing psychology honors.
Oh, great.
So I'd say कि अगर आपको लगे थेरेपिस्ट के पास जाना है तो प्लीज़ जाओ. ऐसा कुछ बुराई तो है नहीं कि नहीं जाएं, मतलब थेरेपिस्ट के पास चले जाएंगे, किसी को पता चल जाएगा हमारे प्रॉब्लम में. उस थेरेपिस्ट को भी कोई ना कोई दिक्कत रही होगी अपनी लाइफ में ना. हाउ कैन समवन नॉट बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग? सो एक बार हमने दुनिया में ये अश्योरेंस फैला देना कि तुम्हारी स्टोरी सुनने के लिए मैं रेडी हूँ. वी कैन मेक अ वर्ल्ड फुल ऑफ नॉन जजमेंटल वर्ल्ड. आई एम सॉरी. सो दैट विल पावर शुड बी देयर कि लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम आया, एक्सेप्ट करेंगे, फिर देखा जाएगा.
So ऐसे इंस्टेंसेस तो आए होंगे जब योर मदर had like बहुत angry situations आई होंगी जब she
Oh,
must have
yes.
shouted on you.
Yeah.
तो उस time में what do you feel? Why is she shouting? Then again she's shouting. So
Obviously, at a very young age. So my father left me at a very tender yet non-tender age. It was the teenage age where even I was trying to, understand certain questions about myself, questioning myself, discovering my own self. And उसके साथ ये सब हो रहा था. And again my mother. पर मैं ये बहुत पता नहीं कैसे बट मैं ये समझ गई थी कि मेरी मम्मा को ना सिर्फ अपने इमोशंस डील नहीं करने हैं. उन्हें 3 लोग के इमोशंस, बैंकर्स के इमोशंस, जहाँ वो जा रही हैं उधर कुछ दिक्कत हुआ, उधर का इमोशनल चैलेंज, उनको शी हैज़ टू डील विद 100 डिफरेंट इमोशनल चैलेंजेस ऑफ नॉट हैविंग अ हस्बैंड, नॉट हैविंग अ मदर, हैंडलिंग 3 kids, हैंडलिंग लॉट ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़. इट हैज़ ऑल कम टू हर एट वंस. मेरे को तो सिर्फ एक यही आया कि मुझे पढ़ना है. एंड आई डोंट हैव अ फादर एंड आई हैव अ मदर. बट मेरी मदर के पास क्या है? शी हैज़ नो बडी टू गो टू. शी जस्ट हैज़ दीज 3 kids विच आर इक्विवेलेंट टू रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़. तो मुझे हम तीनों को इनफैक्ट ये समझ आ गया था कि इनका चिल्लाना ज़रूरी है. ये अगर नहीं चिल्लाएंगी ना तो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड शी वॉज अ डायबिटिक, आई मीन शी स्टिल इज़ अ डायबिटिक एंड अ ब्लड प्रेशर पेशेंट. तो मैंने कहा अगर ये नहीं चिल्लाएंगे तो इनकी कंडीशन वर्स्ट हो जाएगी. तो हम लोग कुछ नहीं बोलते थे.
So you give her on and off experiences of shouting.
या आई एम तो स्पेशल किड ओनली. शी इज लाइक तुम पे मैं कब चिल्लाना बंद करूँगी.
No, I feel Alka कि when your parents are shouting on you ना, that's a biggest blessing in disguise. Me, like during the time when I know from inside that I am doing this mistake and I of course get a अच्छे वाला from my father mother, I still have this feeling that तो क्या हो गया? Father mother क्यों होते हैं? That the tag that
comes,
that
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that is given to them is because of some reason.
Yeah.
So whenever I get when I get scoldings from my parents, I always thank God. एक कमरे में they are shouting on me, एक कमरे में I'm sitting and I'm praying. Okay, thank you God that they are shouting on me. You have given so much energy to them to shout on me. Because when they are ill now, they are sitting on like they are sitting at one place and we feel sad कि हमें उनके पास जाना पड़ रहा है, उनको पूछना पड़ रहा है. Of course we have this responsibility कि we need to take care of our parents because we are forever, we are indebted to our parents forever because they have given us birth.
True, agree.
So we have tons of responsibilities on our shoulders, but they have more than us, which they don't even express in front of us. So I always pray कि हाँ भगवान जी ये चिल्ला रहे हैं, let them shout. Okay, I have done this mistake, it's okay, let them shout. So I enjoy that scolding. So those times must have come into your lives also, and you would have made your siblings also understand this concept of shouting and then.
No, I'll tell you, my sister, she gave me a very good solution. She's like, मम्मा चिल्ला रही है ना, tiles गिनो कितने हैं, fans गिनो कितने. She's like, मैं 100% assurance के साथ दे रही हूँ झगड़ा होएगा ही नहीं कभी. And she gave me for further relationship problems also. If someone is shouting at you, just sit, कितने गिनो रूम में फैन कितने, टाइल्स कितने.
So what's the total count of tiles?
When I was at the home, there were a total of I think 17, 20 in my room. I was like, and I think that's what you said that it's a blessing in disguise. They're shouting. It's because we have someone to tell us कि तुम यहाँ गलत हो. वरना इस दुनिया में और कोई बताएगा भी नहीं आपको कि आप कहाँ गलत हो, कहाँ सही हो. एक क्रिटिक होना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Exactly. This is a harsh fact that when parents, they criticize us on some things, we feel कि भाई इनसे बुरा कोई नहीं है. But उस टाइम पे we should be
इनसे अच्छा ही कोई नहीं है, कोई नहीं है.
They are there to tell us कि हम यहाँ गलत हैं. So बचपन में हम उंगली पकड़ के चलना सीखते हैं. हमने मूवीज़ में सुना है, हमने बहुत सारे स्टार्स और उन सबसे सुना है कि उंगली पकड़ के सीखना चलते हैं. बट जब वो टाइम आता है ना, जब आपको उनको उंगली पकड़ के चलवाना होता है, that's a very painful time. And children experiencing that time are very blessed, I guess, because they have this chance of holding the hands of their parents and helping them in walking. So that's, I guess, it's the biggest blessing.
True. I think I won't be able to express. पर मैं अपने पापा के लिए कुछ नहीं कर पाई कभी. मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि मतलब how should I say, as a kid, when I was growing up, I was always, I want to be my father's favorite child. Like, he should look right, and there my Alka is standing. He should be there, like there my right hand is standing. But I was not able to do anything for him. So मैं हमेशा, he was a person who used to always tell me कि he was a very intelligent person. Like कुछ भी दे दो ना, तो मुझे हमेशा से वैसे करना था कि मैं academics में भी अच्छा करूँ, मैं इसमें भी अच्छा करूँ, पूरा everything. तो मैंने हमेशा ट्राई किया कि पढ़ाई में अच्छे नंबर आए. I was a very average kid. I'm still a very average kid in education or in academics. तो हमेशा I used to always thrive, I used to keep doing. But when he came wrapped in Taranga, I was like कि मेरे पास तो ये अब मौका बचा भी नहीं कि मैं उनके लिए अब कुछ कर पाऊँ, उनके लिए कुछ मतलब कुछ भी उनका सपोर्ट सिस्टम भी नहीं बन सकती मैं अब. एंड दैट्स वेयर इट हिट मी कि जो करना होता है ना वो उसी टाइम कर लिया करो.
Exactly.
There should be no tomorrow.
Yeah, आज करना is I guess that's the main thing कि हमें जो चीज़ करनी है वो अभी करनी है, क्योंकि कल कभी आता नहीं है और कल किसने देखा है, you never know.
No, you never know.
आज रात को like सोने जा रहे हो and किसने नई सुबह देखी है, you never know. You also never thought of getting up to this news.
Never, yeah.
Which would be really heartbreaking for you. So being grateful for each and every moment is the thing that you would.
Yeah, that's what I've learned. Be grateful, be neutral to life. Don't take things too seriously.
Right.
It's okay.
चिल
हाँ ठीक है. कल का कुछ पता नहीं है. Next 5 minutes में क्या हो जाए कुछ पता नहीं है. हमारी लाइफ भी. It was at 3 in the afternoon where I got a call. We had our FAs that time. I had my formative assessment.
Yeah.
You were there with me. And I had given my Hindi exam. So there was a thing in me कि जब भी कोई एग्जाम देगा तो पापा के साथ क्वेश्चन पेपर डिस्कस, जो वो हिंदी भी नहीं पढ़ाएंगे मुझे, बट मुझे डिस्कस पूरा करना उनके साथ. तो वी वर नॉट अलाउड टू कॉल फ्रॉम नॉर्मल फोन्स. वी हैड डिफरेंट आर्मी नंबर, डिफरेंट आर्मी टेलीफोन. वो एक्सचेंज कहते हैं उसे. वो एक होगा कोई, वो बोलेगा कि कनेक्टिंग टू सो एंड सो पर्सन. दैट डे द कनेक्शन ओनली डिडंट गो. इट सेड कि कनेक्शन, एंड इट डिड गो वंस एंड समवन पिक्ड इट अप एंड ही सेड कि राय सर तो ऑपरेशन में है. ऐसे ही आता था मुझे. यू नो, माई फादर didn't even tell this to my mother that used to go for operations. He used to say कि मेरा काम ही नहीं है वहाँ जाना, मैं कर्नल बन गया, मेरा काम अब ऑफिस में है.
So he used to hide these vital pieces of information from your mother.
From my mother, his life partner. And मम्मा ने मुझे बोला कि मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था ये ऑपरेशंस पे जाता है. मुझे तो यही पता था कि he is sitting in office, he is doing his work. Therefore my mother was so chill. And when the news was broke, therefore it was so difficult for me to believe. One of these feelings why it was very difficult for me to believe until I saw him was कि यार can't be him. After few months when we got to know his stories, we got to know certain information, we were surprised that his men told us कि साहब हमारे लिए आगे चला जाता था, साहब हमारे लिए साहब करता था हमारे लिए, साहब बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट नहीं पहनता था कि हम नहीं पहनते थे. एंड दैट डे आई लर्न कि यार लोगों में कितना जज्बा था मेरे पापा के लिए. और किस नेशन, गाँव, एवरीथिंग केम, इट वॉज देयर. बट फॉर देम इवन द नेम ऑफ कर्नल M.N. Rai was equivalent of having God within them. They said कि साव हमारे लिए खड़ा हो जाता था, साव हमारे लिए करता था. Even today मैं दिल्ली आती हूँ, कुछ I meet few of his buddies who were under them, and when they tell us, like they have tears in their eyes while telling these things to us. तो हमने तो क्या ही देखा यार, वो जिस इंसान ने अपने बंदों के लिए इतना जिया, अपने बडीज़ के लिए इतना जिया, तो उनके लिए तो और भी दुख की बात थी.
So the sentence won't be wrong if I would say, like dedicating to your father, that he was yaaro ka yaar.
Absolutely, he was. That's what I said. One man full of life, full of leadership, and most importantly, he believed in what he was doing. बोला था कि मेरे को पूरा भरोसा है अपने इंटेंशंस पे, पूरा भरोसा है अपने काम पे. तो उनको कभी, इवन टुडे जब भी बात होती है ना पापा की, तो लोग बोलते हैं कि यार राय हमारे साथ कहाँ बैठता था. ऑफिसर से राय हमारे साथ नहीं, वो वहाँ भी बैठता था, यहाँ भी बैठता था, वहाँ भी बैठता था. एंड ही सेड कि यार, एंड पीपल से कि राय की हंसी इतनी ज़ोर से थी ना कि लोग डर जाते थे. ही टू लाफ सो लाउडली एंड सो लाउडली लाइक अरे क्या हो गया, क्या हो गया. सो ही वॉज वन, इसलिए मैं कह रही हूँ उनकी 5% पर्सनैलिटी भी अगर मेरे में आ जाए तो आई कैन मेक अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस इन माई लाइफ, इन माई करंट सिचुएशन ऑफ लाइफ.
You know, Alka, it's never too late. And you, somewhere or the other, still are, making your father really proud by standing up in front of 1,000 people, by standing in front of 1,000 reporters and having this much of courage, speaking about your father with this much of, confidence that yes, he was my father.
Yeah.
Having that proud moment.
Yeah,
So people do attach emotions and feelings to the situations that या आपके साथ इतना हुआ, कैसे go through करा, कैसे cope up करा. But inside story is always the person who is facing, that person knows.
Yeah, true.
So
I won't
what
deny.
were some vital responsibilities that were there on your shoulder? The small responsibilities that you were never prepared for, and they were there ready for you. So what were the vital responsibilities that you had on your shoulder after your father left?
One of the very important, I don't know if responsibility is the correct word to use. After that salute video got viral, people expected me to be brave. And I, as a kid, thought that living up to their expectations, if I don't live up to their expectation, that'll be wrong. तो मुझे उस वक्त ब्रेव का आइडिया सिर्फ यही पता था, जो इंसान रोता नहीं है, इवन अगर उसे रोना आ रहा है, विच वॉज द रॉन्ग आइडिया आई ऑब्वियसली हैड. सो वो एक प्रॉब्लम को टैकल करना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया था मेरे लिए, कि लोगों को तो लगता है कि अलका राय बहुत ब्रेव है. तो मैं रोती भी नहीं थी किसी के सामने ना. मैं ऐसे वो सोचती थी कि मुझे यही बताया गया था कि पापा बहुत प्राउडली गए हैं, पापा बहुत सोल्जर की तरह गए हैं, पापा बहुत ऐसे गए हैं. पर मैं भूल गई थी कि अल्टीमेटली वो थे तो मेरे पापा ही. तो मेरे लिए तो एक फादर गया था, मेरे लिए तो कोई सोल्जर, मेरे लिए एक मार्टिर वो बाद में थे, मेरे लिए तो फादर पहले थे. तो वो सिचुएशन टैकल करना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया था कि मैं मतलब I have to be brave in front of people. That was one first responsibility. Second was, I never had, all thanks to my mother, all thanks to that woman, not in olive greens, yet following the path of olive greens. The way she handled, obviously we three had to handle her for initial few months, but the way she handled was amazing. It was spectacular the way she came out. It was the way she came, she took everything in her hand and in a very perfect, आपको पता ही नहीं चला, but वो बहुत स्मूथली हो गया था. वो डिसिप्लिन वापस आ गया था, वो स्कूल जाना, वो वापस आना, दैट नॉर्मल लाइफ को उन्होंने इतना अच्छे से स्मूथली हैंडल करना सिखा दिया था. क्योंकि एक पॉइंट ऐसा आ गया था कि अब पापा नहीं है तो लाइफ में ब्लैंक स्पेस आ गया था. हम तीनों स्कूल जाते थे, वापस आते थे, पर कुछ फील नहीं हो पाता था, हम सैडनेस में ही रहते थे. बट द वे माई मदर शी हैंडल, शी यूज़ टू गेट अप, शी यूज़ टू स्कोल्ड. वो डांटती भी इसलिए थी ना कि इन लोग का दिमाग कहीं और डिस्ट्रैक्ट रहे. उन्होंने फूड टिफ़िन में भी अलग अलग, इनफैक्ट उनके पास और 1000 काम थे. एंड आई से, एंड आई एम पुटिंग इट वेरी क्लियरली, माई मदर हैड अ चॉइस. Every person had a choice. She had a choice to even tell us to go to boarding school, even to leave us. She had a choice. She chose us. It was very easy for her to even, to leave. It would have been really easy because obviously she loved a person and now that person is no more. But she chose us above all. तो वो जब मेरी मम्मी का मैंने देखा ना, the way she came out and the way she handled things, the way she used to make tiffin for us, the way she used to get up and say good morning, even though nobody was there to say good morning to her. She used to come and tell us. She used to tell her stories. हर शाम को पापा की एक नई स्टोरी सुनने को मिलती थी. तो उस नॉर्मल को भी बहुत फ्लुएंटली लाना, वो मेरी मदर के लिए बहुत बड़ा टास्क था. तो वो टास्क जो मैंने देखा था, दैट इज़ व्हेन यू सेड वन ऑफ द वाइटल प्रॉब्लम्स, दैट वाज वन ऑफ द वाइटल प्रॉब्लम्स टू गेट थिंग्स back to normal pace.
So Alka, I have this curiosity of asking you this question. that as an army brat, how was your background influenced by all these relationships and datings?
Or it was highly affected. So my parents were really protective about me since we were in girls' school.
Yeah.
So for 6 years of that major life, I was in girls' school. Before that, I was in COVID. एक स्टेज पे तो मुझे बहुत ही नफरत थी लड़कों से, मतलब मैं उन्हें पीटती पता नहीं व्हाट आई वाज, बिकॉज आई आल्सो हैड अ ब्रदर. ही आई वाज लाइक उसको भी मारना है, इसको भी मारना है, उसको भी मारना है, सब मारना ही है. तो या देन आफ्टर द 6 years आई वाज इन अ गर्ल्स स्कूल. बट yeah, I mean relationships, because of this separation from my father. Further, when I came to relationships and all, I understood that how I mentioned that temporariness, it helped me a lot. कि मैं समझ गई थी कि चीज़ें टेम्परेरी हैं, तो किसी का आना जाना इफेक्ट करेगा, बट वो बहुत ही कम टाइम के लिए. जैसे बोलते ना कि देयर इज ओनली वन सिमिलैरिटी बिटवीन सैड टाइम्स एंड हैप्पी टाइम्स, दे आर देयर फॉर वेरी शॉर्ट टाइम. So that really helped me. And secondly, मैंने ना वो बना लिया था कि चाहिए तो पापा जैसे चाहिए वरना नहीं चाहिए. तो then my mom is like, come back to reality. She's like, please come back to reality. Yeah, that was it. This sadness, yet this feeling of pride, this opportunity, इससे जो भी मैंने सीखा मैंने अपनी लाइफ में अप्लाई किया. कि ऐसे नहीं, even in friendships, even when I was in a boarding school, I had a very nice friend of mine, and ultimately when we had to leave, so a bond of boarding school becomes really, because आप साथ रहते हो, खाते हो, everything, yeah. So she had to do medical, she was preparing for medical when I was preparing for medical, so we had to part our ways. And I was very sad. That one thing I remember, that I was very sad. I was like, मेरे पास अब कोई है ही नहीं कुछ सुनाने को, कुछ वो करने को. पर अगेन क्योंकि मैं इस चीज़ से डील कर चुकी थी, तो मेरे लिए अब वो चीज़ थोड़ा डील करना हल्का सा ईजी हो गया था. तो येस, दैट वाज देयर.
ओके, सो ऑफ कोर्स जितने भी लिसनर्स और जितने भी लोगों ने ये चीज़ सुनी है कि हार्ड टाइम्स एंड हैप्पी टाइम्स के बीच में जो एक चीज़ कॉमन होती है, दैट इज इट पासेस वे टू सून. तो पलक झपकते आपको पता नहीं चलता आपका टाइम बदल जाता है.
ट्रू, अग्रीड.
सो आज की स्टोरी सुनकर, आपकी रोलर कोस्टर राइड सुनकर, आई हैव हैड गूज़बम्प्स, and the listeners also would have had their share of feelings and emotions while listening to you, everything from your own mouth, the journey that you have experienced.
True.
So thank you so much, Alka, for sharing your incredible journey with us that was filled with resilience and strength. And I'm very, very grateful personally to have this opportunity to have a conversation with you on something that is really close to your heart. So yes, join us next time for something more fun and exciting, and we'll be back soon with another story of a brave person. Thank you.